Hey man, are you there?
I am back and ready
Yeah.
to go.
Cool. So yeah, I'm back as well as you can imagine, since I'm talking right now. So we've seen two games, well technically three, but let's count as the officials.
It's a best of seven. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah, that's the best of seven. Let's count it this way. And even though RoX had a good start in this game, they didn't manage to pull it all the way. And I I kind of rewatched the moment with the tier 3 turns. We're gonna see it in here in a minute. I feel like that was such a crucial mistake.
Yeah, I think it was kind of one of those things that the mistake came in and it was an unfortunate kind of setup and such. But again, this was kind of what you talked about in pre-game with the Cassidy going in against the Akali. It is a race against time. This Akali just wasn't able to do a lot against this Cassidy, or rather, they weren't able to do enough against this Cassidy or against this UOL team before it really became such a huge issue for them. So this team fight, though, was absolutely perfect from UOL, just able to get the Cassidy and the set in on the backside, no man's and boss, perfectly layering everything they needed, and it just, honestly, it was like poetry. It was so fluid.
Exactly, and this was a very poetic setup. I have to say, this is one of those how do I put it, like wombo combo fights. I mean, wombo combo team fight compositions where you kind of need to press all your buttons at the correct moment to actually win the fight. I mean, this was a funny little scene which actually netted them a kill on Cassidy, but at this moment, I feel like this is already a very poor situation for RoX to be in, because once again you're delayed on the Infernal Soul. You kind of this was another good fight, by the way. With, I think there was the TP from Boss. Yeah, Boss TP'd in the center of the map, and he managed to find a very good ulti here with a flash. Look at this, he controlled 3 people when one of them was the Aphelios, and without the Aphelios, without the Akali, like, what can you do? Cassidy just rips everybody open.
As well as that, like, you could see RoX desperately trying to stop the Cassidy and, you know, no man's from getting in on top of these fights. And again, here's another example of just a fantastic layering of ultimates. Taric ultimate into the Set ultimate into the Paranoia, with the Senna going in with the AoE shield and damage going down straight down the middle. This is team fight galore, and Fiesta meant the Cassidy just came out of his Zhonya's completely untouched, able to push in and go for all of these different kills. It just, at this point, you kind of felt it was almost over, and it would take a miracle move from the side of RoX to come back into it. And this was the final nail in the coffin. This was the moment we saw the Pentakill coming out from no man's.
Yeah, which was, even though RoX got the Infernal Soul, they couldn't do anything. They got like a couple kills here. I think they killed off Set and maybe Nocturne. No, Nocturne actually survived. Just the Set. So it's a 5-for-1 trade and a pentakill for No Man's. That was very impressive, I have to say. Even though it's Cassidy and he was pretty much built for cleaning up the team fights like that, it still was a good effort from Unicorns of Love. And they knew what their composition was all about. Even though I would say that the early game was not... let's say, executed exactly as it should have been, because normally I would say that with this type of setup you want to be rather slow. You don't want to get engaged on or engage yourself. You remember the moment in the bot side where Boss was trying to force a fight with a TP coming in from Noman's, actually ended up failing because Boss died before his team arrived. I feel like this is not what you want to do in this setup. But yeah, I mean, this is it for game 2, and we are already in the draft of game 3.
Yeah, we are into the draft. It's going to be UL on the red side again. RoX banning away that Callista. You can imagine most of the bans will stay the same for both sides right up until the final one, and we'll see what RoX want to go for. Honestly, I would like to see them prioritize the Senna a little bit more. I feel like it's something that they're just not really able to utilize, and in that first game, we did see them get very close at taking down UOL just before the end of the game with that Senna. So again, something that has worked for them in the past.
Yeah, maybe like if something is not broken, you shouldn't fix it. And the first setup from RoX with the Azir in the mid lane looked really, really good. I mean, yeah, they didn't manage to win the game, but still, Flatty on the Azir was just flying around the map with those godlike initiations, which is not something that we see that often from Azir, because usually when you initiate, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. But he was managing to survive there, or at least get like let's say a profitable trade where he would die but kill like 2 carries from the side of Unicorns of Love. Yeah, pretty much the same bans, only Lee Sin, as in the previous game, they ban away Lee Sin. It's going to be Trundle first pick for RoX once again.
Exact same run back. We could get the NA salty run back coming in very, very shortly, and we'll see what you all want to go for. I imagine they go with the Set and the Senna right now because, again, don't fix what's not broken. It's just something that's worked so damn well for them right now, and again, it's weird to see RoX go with this Trundle pick. I get that they want to take it away from Anasiak. Is it again? Ananasic. Oh, you can, close.
You can just say pineapple because Ananasic means pineapple. That's fine.
I know. I'm trying my best to be as faithful to the players as I possibly can. I do believe it was like last Worlds that the EU had some the casters had issues with it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Senna has been locked in and is ready to go. Now for UOL, do they look for that Set or maybe even the Ornn? Do they try to take that away from the side of RoX? There's a lot of options available to them here on the table.
I feel like they're gonna go, they're gonna go with the same picks. It's Senna, Set, and if RoX have the audacity to go once again with a blind pick Akali, I feel like we're gonna see Kassadin once again. He's not banned yet.
No, has not been banned, but I do not think we'll see the blind Akali again. If you go with that, you know it's going to be a complete run back of the exact same draft. They may go with the Ornn and just lock that one in for the moment, but I do imagine they maybe look for something more along the lines of their AD carry or even possibly the support just before they go into ban phase 2.
Oh, okay. No.
No, gonna run it back. Okay, go with the Kassadin. Don't change what's not broken. And overall, I feel like UOL are going to be so happy with this.
Yeah, but once again, I return to my previous statement about the fact that it was not the draft that lost the game for RoX, but RoX themselves. So maybe if they have a cleaner execution, they can run away with the game. The only problem I see here is that Unicorns of Love can actually clean up their early stage of the game, and then we won't be able to have this advantage that RoX had last time around. So I'm not so sure it's actually good to repeat the exact same draft.
But at the same time, you say like, the draft wasn't the issue, but if you're not good enough to execute on the draft, then that is the issue. Unfortunately,
True.
If you only can do Malphite, wombo combo, then that's all you can do. But we do see the Tam Kench being taken away here from the side of RoX, so we will see something slightly different in the bots. Actually, that was banned last time. It was Taric, wasn't it, last time that they ended up taking the bot side? So overall, I don't know if is this a salty run back? Is this the NA special salty run back? I hope it is.
I hope that RoX are going to change their draft a bit and actually ban away the Taric. I hope that this is what's going to happen. This is probably the key adaptation that should be seen here. Otherwise, I will have a major deja vu here. A major one. I feel like Taric is the ban here because you take away the composition of the team fights with the Senna, with the Taric, and with the Kassadin jumping in while being invulnerable.
Yeah, I don't see that why being an issue. As you kind of take away the Nocturne, now there's something different they're not going to be able to bring into this next game. But Taric is still being left open, and that's also something that can just enable this Kassadin to, like you said, hop, skip, and jump around these team fights without any kind of care.
Yeah, I feel like banning away Nocturne does not pose the biggest threat, because there are other junglers who can jump in and this is the pick I was talking about. I feel like this is so great. I feel like this is the pick that you want to have in this comp.
Yeah, you mentioned it before that this is what they would be looking for. That's what you would be looking for. And honestly, I have to agree with you. It looks like it's going to be a fairly, kind of good setup of a, similar composition. Now they may look to try and get something different in the support role for the side of the RoX Tigers. God damn it, every damn time. But it looks like they're going straight back into that Nautilus pick. But overall, UOL, I don't think there's going to be much of a difference here. If anything, the Graves can actually farm even harder than the Nocturne. It just doesn't have that big of a gap closer, shall we say.
Exactly, but where Nocturne adds up on the like the all-in potential in the fights, Graves kind of compensates for the lack of wave clear and the early game power in terms of jungler. Oh, actually, this is going to be a flex. It's going to be set support and Mordekaiser top lane.
I love this. You're basically saying that we've called out your salty run back. We know exactly where we want to bring this. Set support is so strong right now.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, actually, I would say that set in general is very strong.
Set in general is quite strong right now. But
yeah.
The reason why I love it into this particular composition is that you've got your two range. It's effectively, again, another front to back. Your Mordekaiser goes in with your set. You still have the Graves and the Senna on the backside, and then Kassadin just hop, skips, and jumps and kills everybody.
Yeah, and all in all, in terms of like balance, and you know, I think it's Irelia who says that balance in all things. I feel like in terms of balance, this draft is...
Shen says that.
Oh, Shen. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. I love my lore, so I do tend to look it up quite a bit.
Well, they're both from Ionia, so I was close. I was close.
You were in the right region. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I wanted to say that you have double AP solo laners with an AD heavy jungler, and at the same time, you have the both lanes want to farm up a bit. Even Mordekaiser, even against Ornn, he's not exactly willing to start fights early on. You want to get a couple of levels. You want to get maybe a couple of items. I mean, not a couple of items. That's too much. Let's say at least half an item. And the same goes for Kassadin, and this is where the Graves comes in, which he's very strong early on. Even though he needs to farm up, he's actually very, very strong, and you shouldn't underestimate the amount of damage that he can put out. And also, Trundle cannot duel out Graves. He cannot just fight him 1v1, because Graves is just gonna kite him, especially with the phase rush. So in terms of, and also since you don't have an ADC, you have the Senna, which is like the utility kind of girl. You have the ADC from the jungle, which is perfect. I feel like their draft is just a masterpiece. And it's a good answer to what RoX are having.
Which is the exact same draft that wasn't the problem last.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the problem against the draft that Unicorns of Love had, but this draft is different. This is different. Yeah, so
that's fair. That's very fair.
So we actually have a situation, and I'm gonna put my, let's say, analyst honor on the table here, and I'm gonna say that RoX said, it's not broken, let's not fix it. And Unicorns of Love said, well, we did good, but we can do better. And I feel like they fixed their draft, and they got even better matchups and even better potential in the mid game. Of course, this time around we shouldn't see that many like AoE fights, because it's no longer the Wombo combo effect. It's more of a 1-3-1 composition, which was pretty much true about the last draft as well, because with double globals you could have applied pressure in the side lanes, which they didn't do. But it doesn't matter. But still, I feel like their draft right now is much, much better, and I feel like it's going to be way harder for RoX to actually do something in this game, especially in the early part.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the rift for what could potentially be the final time today. UOL looking to take down RoX Tigers 3-0 brackets 4-0 as we look towards another set of skills, or not set of skills, I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. You know what? I'm just going to stop it right there. That sentence made no sense.
That's okay.
That sentence made nothing in my head. But another fan out, I want to ask you very, very, kind of quickly before we start looking into these early skirmishes. What is the win condition for RoX right now? What are they looking to do in order to not have a repeat of the previous game?
They have to do exactly the same thing they did last game, where they get the advantage early. They have the ability to force fights because they have double engage on the top and the support role. Possibly two best engagers in the game, right? With the Ornn, with a depth charge coming in from Nautilus. You have to apply pressure on both sides of the map. As I said before, with a Kassadin, you don't want to be actually killing Kassadin in lane. You want to push him in, and then you want to rotate. The only problem here now is that in a 2v2 scenario, Graves, with his superior wave clear possibilities, he's not gonna let that happen. And this is the problem that I see. You have a weaker jungle matchup, and at the same time, you have some wave clear in the 2v2. So how do you get those advantages in order to force fights in the mid game? I feel like it should be like a godlike swap with perfect timing for the Baron and the Dragon and all the jazz, because you can just be quicker than your opponents. You don't have to force fights because you just have the numbers advantage. You can just be quicker on the objectives, quicker on turrets, get the Herald, get the first turret, and so on. Like as they did last game, basically. That's what I would have called.
They got themselves an early Dragon or two. They got themselves the early Rift Heralds as well. So they were in a much more advantageous position. And I love this from the side of UOL, the jungler there. He moves away knowing that there's almost certainly a ward on his Raptors. They're not going to be able to spot him out. He remains in fog of war. They don't know where he is. I like that little small adaptation there because it's just communication. It's just no man's telling his jungler, by the way, he was probably there a second ago, and lo and behold, uses sweeper, gets himself a nice little free ward. So nice little small early game play. I like those kind of things.
I have to say, this is what separates like good players from great players, because they do those small little changes to their routing, to their pathing, and all that jazz, and actually they get small advantages here and there.
Yeah, we're going to see now in the bot side a little bit of a skirmish coming in. Actually, a lot of damage going down onto the Lex. So Gadget needs to be a bit more careful, though. He's in a bit of a low health bar situation, as you've got that nice little scythe movement there coming in from the Aphelios, but Trundle is on this bot side. They will land the root there on top of Lexus, but he has to back himself away. I don't know if the Trundle can really go for anything here. They're going to have to try and find something else.
I don't feel like they can set up the dive there. I mean, diving is pretty much the main tool for you to get advantages early on, but I don't feel like you can dive Senna and Set under the turret when they have all their summoners up. This is just way too risky to do. And I mean, it was a good timing from one hand because basically 4 was on the bot side and Anasik was in the top side, but still it was a risky move, and I feel like it was a good call for RoX not to go for that.
Ooh, they have to put down the exhaust here on the bot side and use the heal. 2 summoners down because they just overestimated how much they could go for there on the side of RoX. And RoX now have a little bit of a disadvantage in this lane, which honestly they should be winning pretty handily given the fact that they are the Nautilus and Aphelios versus the Senna and the Set.
And this is quite troubling because normally, like, which side, I mean, in every early game, you have a specific side of the map that you want to play around. And this game, it's all about the bot side for RoX, because you have tank versus Mordekaiser in the top side. Yes, you can gank Mordekaiser pre-6, but it wasn't possible because Ananasik was there, and now boss is almost level 6, and after level 6, because he gets the Death Realm, you just can't gank Mordekaiser. You just can't, because every 2v1 immediately turns in a duel, and I feel like both Trundle and Ornn can die to Mordekaiser in his Death Realm. So basically, you want to apply pressure in the bottom side of the map, and it's not going to be passable. Ooh, oh my god, this is going to be first blood!
That is so unfortunate there. You could see Dreampula was looking for that solo kill onto boss, almost had it as well, but just having Graves in the right position at the right time just pays such dividends. And just before that, we actually saw into that mid lane a great trade for the Akali on top of the Kassadin, just absolutely chunking him out, pretty much making sure that he can't do anything into this lane. And with the pressure they have in mid and in bot, it is going to spell an early Drake for the side of RoX. However, this time the top side of the map is not such a good place.
We have to say that, and also Drimple did have the flash, he didn't choose to use it. Maybe he could have traded kills there, but to be fair, from the macro point of view, at least in my opinion, that doesn't change much, because RoX still want to be playing through their bottom side of the map. So they got the dragon, which means, this is a very early dragon by the way, which means that they can rotate immediately around 7 minutes, like 30 seconds to get the Herald, and then you can start accelerating the game, which is okay. One death of Ornn is not the end of the world.
Absolutely. However, the big problem is now is that you got a Mordekaiser who's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to be a very, very difficult time for them to try and sort that one out. I'm curious to see if they will still go for that 8-minute rotation from the bot side to the top to try and get that Rift Herald, just to see if they can get the extra gold and objectives from it as well.
You know what, I'm going to play a bit of a less here, and I'm going to say that if they don't go for the rotation, they're trolling. No, I mean, I'm sorry, but you have to do something. You have to be active in this game. RoX cannot just stay calm and farm. This is the let's say the propaganda that we have in the solo queue. If you're losing, just stay back, farm, and then enemy will eventually make a mistake. You cannot expect this to happen in the professional, I mean, in the competitive scene. You should be the ones making the plays, especially if the opponents outscale you. And here, I want to say they outscaled them by a great deal just because of the Kassadin. And we're not taking into account stuff like Mordekaiser killing anyone in the side lane later on, or the fact that they have a Trundle versus the Graves in the jungle. I mean, Trundle is useful, sure, but Graves is the carry.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you can see already now the Graves just power farming himself up to that level 6, already a level ahead of 4. This is a bit of a scary moment now for the side of RoX, because they haven't got, like you said, the early pressure they had in the last time, I should say, in the last game they played with this exact same composition. Now, like you said, UOL looking like they have got the bigger, I suppose, understanding of these matchups, and with Lexus in this mid lane, and you've got, No Man's pushing into this mid as well. They have got position over this Rift Herald. I don't think they can go for this, RoX.
I don't think so, because Unicorns of Love are all there, and I mean, they can make a miracle happen if they find a pick for themselves, is if like the ultis of Nautilus and Ornn coincide and they get someone squishy. But actually, Unicorns of Love are starting the Herald, and they did it!
They've gotten the Herald, and that's going to be straight up there. There's the Ornhorn coming out. We're going to see a little bit of a movement here as the Akali's still in the Shroud, but she's taking AoE damage. She can't stay here for much longer. Tries to get the perfect execution, but she will go down. There's the set ultimate, and a great move onto 3. Means that everyone is falling apart. Oh, it's a repeat of the last game, just a little bit earlier, and No Man's is on the board again.
A little bit? A lot earlier. It's 9 minutes in.
Oh, dear Lord, they need to be so careful. And all summoners were pretty much burned there on the back half of that fight by the side of RoX. And this is just not going to be a fun time at all. You've given over a 3,000 gold lead over to your counterparts. A hell of a lot of gold over to that Kassadin. Graves is now 2-0-3. There's just so much. And this was just, honestly, a great turn from the side of UOL.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job. They anticipated the rotation. They were first on the object, and they got the Herald even before RoX were able to force anything. And then basically they just out-team fought them. I don't know. Is that a word? Can you say out-team fight as in they did it better?
They executed more cleanly. They had got the advantage already, so when the fight came in, they could fully put their focus onto the team fight. And like you said, they just team fought better. Waiting that last little second for them to be all funneled into that top or the mid-side ramp, just so they can get all their AoE ultimates off, was just absolute perfection.
Yeah, and the set coming in from Santos was extremely useful. With the ulti, with the E, what's it called, a face breaker, he basically stunned 3 people, and then from there on, even though it's Kassadin level 7, not the Kassadin level 16, they can still clean up the fight, and they did it really effectively. And imagine that, we're talking about RoX finding a way to accelerate the game. That's a 3.5k gold advantage at 10 minutes for Unicorns of Love.
For the Unicorns, this is exactly like you said it would be. It's a better version of what last game was. You now also have a better early game than what last game was. And RoX, they've got to find an opportunity. Like you said, it cannot be just sit there, wait for something to happen. They have to find themselves in a position where they can actually find an advantage. Because right now, if this continues, they're just going to fall further and further behind.
Exactly, because the Unicorns of Love are starting to do what RoX were supposed to do. They are starting to get the objectives for themselves. And what's the best way Oh my god, that's Kali coming in.
Oh, that TP was not fantastic. They will get the ultimate off. They will try and see if they can get some more down. There is the showstopper, but to start off all of this fight, and they are trying to see if they can get something back on top of this. They have got Boss with 4 in the death realm, but Ornn is down. Now 4 is out of the death realm, and they're going to kill him off straight away. Aphelios, no flash, nowhere to go, no health bar, and is dead. Overall, it's 8-0. You've got yourself the kills. The money is all yours. The objectives are all yours. It feels like it's already over. I hate saying that so early in the game, but UOL just looked dominating against RoX.
I mean, you have to be honest with yourself, right? I mean, yeah, of course, we're casters, so we should be more or less neutral and kind of optimistic to hope for the better, that the game lasts longer or something like that, but I don't feel like this is gonna happen. This is a lot of advantage for the team that scales better, for the team with Cassidy. This is exactly the first time, this is gonna be a bit of a history from LPL. Remember the first time Sunning, or Sunning, what's the correct pronunciation? I think Sunning. Remember the first time Angel picked Cassidy? And I was talking about it with my friends, and I said, like, okay, this is a bad pick, because unless he gets a triple before 10 minutes, they are gonna lose. And he got a triple at 10 minutes. This is not exactly a triple, but still a lot. This is 7k gold lead for Unicorns of Love. And this is a Cassidy that already has Road of Ages before 12 minutes into the game. He has a 302, and they got the Herald and the Dragon. They got the first turret. Like, where can you go from there? I don't think there's anything in RoX's arsenal to do anything in this game. I feel like from now on, it's basically Unicorns of Love can win this game or they can lose this game. It's entirely up to them.
I just want to draw attention to Aphelios' items right now. He is sitting on Berserker Greaves and a pickaxe. That is it. The fasting Senna that has picked up less than 20 farm is sitting on an Umbral Glaive. That is how big of a difference there is. And oh no, are they gonna go for something in the bot side? No, they're gonna back themselves away. I thought Cassidy was going for it here, but again, this is just such an absolute display of pure, just, we're better than you, basically. And here we go, they're gonna drop down the ultimate, but a flash away from the Senna means they can't aggress anymore. There were the minions in the way for the dredge line. Timing was not there. This is feeling desperate from RoX. I don't know if they have them much in there. They need to find an advantage, but it's just all flowing away from them.
And it's not gonna get better because they are scaling. I mean, Unicorns of Love are scaling, and Nomans actually is rotating from the mid side of the map. They can actually punish someone, at least Trundle maybe, who is still staying at the bottom side. Actually, you know, when you pointed out the items of Aphelios, that was so sad to see. When you're lacking behind enemy support as an ADC, and I mean, to be honest, Senna is the support, and this, we can call her ADC all we want. She's not farming, she's the support, and you're lacking behind in terms of items against her. And I know this is mostly due to the fact that you get the objectives, you get the turrets, you get the dragons, and you get the kills. It's not about Senna being better, it's not about Gadget being individually stronger than Shiganari. It's of course the team effort, but still it's a very sad thing to see, and it's like it translates in every other lane. I mean, look at the item differences between, let's say, top laners. Okay, don't look.
Here we
look
go,
at the
flash dredge line. They're going to try and go for it. The exhaust goes down onto Gadget, try and keep himself alive. He will go down. There's a soul pick, but overall ends up being traded back. Akali is here trying to kill off Santos, but I don't think she has the damage. She does not, and that means that the rest of the map can be opened up. Rift Herald's being taken, mid lane's being taken. They will eventually take down this tier 1 and bot side, but overall, UOL, they've delayed so much that this is going to be fine for them.
Exactly. This is actually even if Shiganari wouldn't die in this exchange, that would be still bad for RoX, because you're bleeding objectives all over the map, and because Unicorns of Love are getting stronger everywhere else. And this is Senna. Okay, you kill her once. Okay, I don't think she cares. I don't think she cares, especially considering the fact that Unicorns of Love are gonna get another turret in the top side. They got the Herald already, and now they can turn their attention to the second Drake. I mean, to their second Drake, the third Drake we have on the map. This is an engage on boss. I don't think you can win this.
Oh, they're gonna look for it anyway. No Man's is still here. They launched the dredge line and they've got a lot of damage with that Aphelios as well. But it looks like Lexus has been put into the death realm. He will go into stasis just to keep himself alive, which means that boss is almost certainly going down. And that is a nice little pick up there for the side of RoX. Not out of it just yet. And UOL, you need to not be cocky here. You need to make sure that you're not being overconfident, because there are ways for RoX to get back into this game. But I gotta say that this Graves is just picking up objective after objective after objective, so it's gonna be very hard.
Yeah, it's kind of like they have this, let's say, a trust limit where they can, let's say, I mean, give away like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 more kills like that, and it's still not gonna matter. So they can do that. I mean, they shouldn't, but they kind of can. And I mean, when you look at the team who just got the tier 1 in the top lane and they continue pushing without knowledge of the enemy laters, I mean that's just disrespect. But Nomas gets another kill. That's 4th one, and hopefully he's not gonna chase them anymore, because this is dangerous right now. Impulia and Flatia are nearby.
Yeah, and they're gonna see No Man's is off to the side. They're gonna get the flash from boss. He will get himself out, but another summoner blown. Oh, you have no way of getting out of this. Perfect execution has to be used defensively, and now they're on the run. There's the showstopper to start it all off. As I keep saying, they just keep coming, and RoX even gonna keep going. And in the bot side, it's all just the Graves just pushing. This is a 4v4, and Graves with the Rift held in the bot side. They're gonna take everything.
Yeah, well, see, yeah, Unicorns of Love are just like, no pressure, guys. We're winning. We're winning on every side of the map. When they're not throwing, they're winning. Because I actually thought that boss didn't have the flash. That's why he got engaged on the top side. No, he had it. He had it. He just decided to die. Apparently, as did Ananasic. He got the tier 3 turret, but that was too much for him.
Oh, it was too much for him, but the rest of his team is here, and another fantastic face breaker from Santos means that 3 kills go straight over to the side of UOL. We are just under 19 minutes, and they're banging on the door. They want this series done.
Yeah, and that I feel like they're banging on the door real hard. It's something that when you hear in real life, you want to shout out from inside something like, "I can hear it! Don't bang so loudly!" And I don't think Unicorns of Love are gonna stop. I don't think so. It's 12k gold lead. 12! That
is disgusting right now how much of a gold lead they have. It's about, I think it's 2,500 in jungle, 3,000 in top lane, 4,500 in mid lane. Like, it's absurd the amount of gold they have on their carries right now, and this is just, like you said, just gonna get worse. People call No Man's on this Kassadin a late game, kind of carry, but in my opinion, he's actually just a carry in general. He's gonna be able to get out of this pretty damn easily as well. Honestly, there's no way they could really kill him right now. I don't see a world where they can, because they just haven't got the damage.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna try their hardest. They're actually continuing the chase with the exhaust. This is something that I don't want to see, actually. Oh, nice pillar!
They're still going for it. They will get him, but for at what cost? Did you get him? Yes. What did it cost you? Absolutely
everything. Exactly.
It was RoX. They had to go for something. They got a fair bit of gold from that, but that's going to be Baron now over to the side of UOL on spawn.
Yeah, 20-minute Baron, why not? You just traded 3 kills for 1 death of No Man's. I mean, was it worth it? I wouldn't say so. Even though there was a 1k gold shutdown on him.
Unless there was a 1k gold shutdown on him. But I think the only thing that can make this worth is if you type /all-chat. That's what makes it worth. That's the only way this does. But again, we talked about it a little bit, it's desperation plays. They have to go for these plays, otherwise there's just nothing they can do. They just lose by a death of 1,000 cuts. There's no way for them to kind of get back into this game without looking for something and looking for a mistake.
The thing is, even though Unicorns of Love are making mistakes right now and this moment, it's not looking for a mistake. It's looking for a whole village of mistakes. And I don't know.
A miracle.
No, even with a miracle, you need more than one miracle. You cannot come back in this game with one team fight. Even if, let's say, all 5 people from Unicorns of Love are trying to dive under the fountain and all of them die and you get the shutdowns and everything, that's not enough. And I'm sorry to be so pessimistic, but it's a lot of adventure. And it's only 21 minutes. And once again, Where's
Oh,
the
no.
where's the win condition in the
Oh,
late
no.
game?
Thank God the Castellan got a little too antsy there for the Aphelios, because he was about to walk into some pretty bad situations there if he wasn't careful. Just trying to see if he could do something there, but Graves is here, so there's no need for the Rift Walk from Nomans. And like you said, it's going to take several miracles. It's going to be biblical levels of miracles to have to come in here for the side of UOL to lose this. And Call of Forge God is down. It's a 3v5 now in the bot side. There's the showstopper to start it all. Face breaker. Philios is down, and they're chasing down the Ornn. It's a double kill. Could we see the double penta coming into this game? Nomans is searching. He's got the triple. He only needs 2 more kills, and you can see it in his eyes. He wants this penta kill. He's got to look for it on the fountain. He's got to look for as much as he possibly can. The Quadra. Does his team jump together to give it to him? They are setting themselves up. They want to give it to him.
Do it.
They're gonna go for it. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
There it is. Is it gonna be the pentakill?
No.
It will not. He gets 3 kills himself. It doesn't really matter off on the back end. They tried. It's gonna be a triple over to the Trundle. But overall, UOL have already pretty much won this game. They're just having a little bit of fun.
Okay. That's miracle number 1. Check. As I said, if they go diving on the fountain as 5
That's
people...
exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Gadget is still running, so they will get the delayed ace. There it is, delayed ace. Well done to RoX. But their base is in tatters.
Exactly. And even after a full ace, even though it was delayed, that's still 13k gold disadvantage at 23 minutes. And I mean, yeah, okay, Unicorns of Love, they kind of trolled, to be fair. They could have finished the game here. I actually wanted to point out that Ananasic is level 14, by the way. I wish you all, guys, to have the jungler in your team who is level 14 at 22 minutes. Everyone. You should get it. It's an amazing experience, I have to say. Especially when you are the jungler. So yeah, they trolled a bit and they gave away like I think 4 got like 3k gold from this triple alone. Yep. But it's still not enough. And as I said, like, you need like several miracles like that. And I'm not sure Unicorns of Love are gonna have another one. And also I'm sure that the next time Santos or Boss are gonna steal away the Quadra so Nomans does not force his team into a pentakill scenario like that.
Here we go. We're actually going to see the Call of Forge God, but it doesn't really hit onto anyone. And now this Nautilus is just on no man's land. They have used Boss's Death Realm as well, but they can just keep pushing in on top of this. Look for the end because they've got the TPs coming in. They're going to look to try and end this game right here, right now at 24 minutes, just under 25. There's just nothing that RoX can do. They haven't got the health bars. They haven't got the damage. It's one last team fight. Good knock up. There's 4 down. But it's going to be too much from the Castellan for the Aphelios and Kali to deal with. Now you have no more damage. No pentakill on the board for anybody right now. No man's still having a little bit of fun because he knows he is in absolutely no danger whatsoever. Nexus turret number 1. Nexus turret number 2. The Nexus is sure to follow. UOL will do it in 4 games effectively in a best of 7. They will take down RoX in 3-0 and become your LCL 2020 Spring Split champions.
And to be fair, they did it in a very, very decisive manner. We have to say, even though we had this rematch and effectively we turned this series into best of 7, that was still a very, very decisive performance from Unicorns of Love, especially the last game. The last game was just a stomp on a stomp. Like, there is no chance RoX could have fought that back. No chance. And yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. You know, we have had the finals in all of the major regions going 3-0 with LEC, LCS and LCK. I was kind of hoping that we would avoid that here, and But we didn't. We didn't,
Well,
and
we did avoid it. It was a 4-0.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was a 4-0.
Exactly. We got it. We got it. Don't worry about it.
It was even more one-sided than the other ones. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
But I wanted to point out that the main thing that disappointed me the most was the lack of adaptation from the losing teams, because Fnatic basically did more or less the same drafts, but maybe except the third game. FlyQuest also kind of did the same idea. With RoX, the second game was like close enough, but going with the same draft, I don't think that was a good call. I don't think so. Even though I don't think it was the problem, it just gave the space for Unicorns of Love to adapt and to make their draft better. And as I said, like when RoX were saying stuff like it's not broken, let's not fix it, Unicorns of Love just said, yeah, we can make it better, and they did. And they did, and immediately from the first objective, from the first Herald, we saw that it was just dominated by Unicorns of Love. So that was the final. What's your overall impression? What's your overall impression from LCL teams and such?
I think there's a lot of promise in LCL teams. I love the fact that it's like a baby version of LPL. It's just fight, go for it. Doesn't matter what happens. And, I would love to see, I can't wait to see what the LCL can do at Worlds this year. I do think that Unicorns were unlucky last year to not make it out of groups or play-ins, into groups. I think they could have definitely done. So I'm curious to see what the progression will be like. But I as much as the regular season might have been very close, this was an absolute stomp for the side of UOL. I'm very, very happy to see them come out with a pretty decisive 3-0, and it seems to be the split of 3-0s so far this year.
Yeah, let's hope that in LPL we'll see something different, because we don't know the finalists yet. We don't know the finalists. We still have to see the match between JD Gaming and FPX, which is going to be tomorrow, by the way. Don't miss the broadcast of the LPL. But this is going to be it for us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and especially grand merci for my co-caster, Penguin, here, who came straight from the LPL to join us to see the finals of the LCL. It was a good shot by Unicorns. Unfortunately, RoX didn't make it, but I would say that it was still a good season for them, because it's more or less a new team. They kind of created competition for Unicorns of Love during the regular split. They destroyed Gambit, the stars of our region, in the semifinals. So losing to Unicorns in that fashion is, it's a sad story, but it's still something. And also, to be fair, my conscience feels a bit better with the decisive victory of Unicorns of Love, because there was this setback for the beginning.
We all make mistakes. At the end of the day, it did make a huge difference, of course, but we all make mistakes, and no one is, I would be very surprised if people are angry about this, because if anything, it just gave us more League of Legends to cast, and that was fun. Exactly.
Well, I think this is going to be it for us today. Once again, thank you everyone for joining this special English broadcast, and I'll see you next time around during the week with the normal Russian commentary as you got used to. Or maybe there will be more English streams. I don't know. I want to practice that language, so yeah. Let's leave it open. Let's put it this way. Anyway, thank you once again, Penguin, and good night to you, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you.